We are Siouxland proud. This is KCAU9 News at 5:30.
Well, good evening and thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Abby Hannon. Every day, firefighters put their lives on the line to save others, and to do so, first responders have to go through some intense training. It's our top story at 5:30. Firefighters from several Nebraska towns gathered outside of Norfolk for the day at an abandoned home. Starting from 8:30 this morning, first responders worked on skills like nozzle operations, ventilation drills, and tackling an actual house fire. An official with the Nebraska Fire Marshal says this allows both new and old firefighters to brush up on their skills.
The true fact of the matter is the number of fires that firefighters go to today are being reduced by good fire prevention programs. This just gives the firefighters an opportunity to hone their skills, especially, for the new guys that have not done a lot of it.
And throughout the day, the fires got bigger and bigger, eventually leading to the house burning down. Coming up at 10, KCAU9 reporter Tyler Euchner shares a little bit more about what training fire officials went through earlier today. And folks have one day left to complete their absentee voting in North Sioux City for the municipal election. Absentee voting will end tomorrow at 5 p.m. The election will take place on Tuesday, April 8th, starting at 8 p.m. There are 10 candidates, 2 each in the 5 open positions for the new commissioner form of government. For the position of mayor, voters will get to choose between Chris Bottengrief and Greg Meyer. For the position of 4-year commissioner, there's Lynn Hoffman and Cody Benson are the 2 candidates. For 3-year commissioner, and the candidates are Julie Burhoop and Bob Davis. The 2-year commissioner candidates are Jessica Jo Strain and Daniel Zerf. And finally, for that 1-year commissioner, candidates are David James Wilch and Vincent D. Tucker. Again, the election is on Tuesday at the North Sioux City City Hall at 8 a.m. And avian bird flu is continuing to spread across the country. On one lab in Iowa State University shows how they test birds, saying it's very similar to the constant testing with the COVID pandemic.
Inside the Iowa State Veterinary Diagnostic Lab, a crew of more than 150 people are hard at work, testing samples for avian flu every day.
At the height of our testing, it could be up to 1,000 to 3,000 tests per week.
Dr. Philip Gogger oversees molecular diagnostics.
A lot of these samples are kept on ice so we can maintain the integrity.
And invited us inside for a closer look at how it works. During times where there's an outbreak detected, like last week in Dallas County, it becomes around-the-clock, all-hands-on-deck operation.
The pressure that comes is just the increased volume of testing that we need to do. And then on top of that, the test turnaround time has to be very quick.
Samples here are dropped off or sent in by UPS, inventoried, pared down, and then sent to specialty departments for testing, with results often available the next day. In the offices upstairs,
so there's kind of different levels of biosecurity.
Other experts work on battling the illness from a different angle.
It's a lot more education outreach, trying to help people understand a little bit more about the virus.
Dr. Yuko Soto says she helps Iowa farmers amp up their biosecurity measures.
It's basically keeping the outside out and keeping the inside in.
Teaching best practices like stocking up on sanitation materials and the PPE gear that became so recognizable during the COVID pandemic.
Street clothes are free from.
And Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen announced he is partnering with the Department of Agriculture on providing Nebraskans with information about the appearance of avian influenza in wild birds after the Douglas County Health Department reported on the detection of H5N1 in dead geese at Conagra Lake in Omaha. The NDA state veterinarian Roger Dudley says, quote, "It's well known that wild waterfowl can be infected with avian influenza and transmit the virus to other birds, including backyard and commercial poultry, throughout contact, including wild bird droppings. Many wild birds will show no symptoms of the virus, however, some will succumb to the disease," end quote. Officials say anyone spotting a dead wild bird are encouraged to utilize the new Nebraska Game and Parks website to report it. Well, switching gears, checking back in with meteorologist Maggie Orr. Maggie, how's that weather looking?
Well, it's looking really good. Some good information on those birds and reporting those birds with that nice weather that we're seeing. Going to be great to get out there and maybe enjoy a nice walk as temperatures sit in the 50s and 60s. That graphic kind of went a little fast, but that dog walk forecast looking excellent as well. You take your dogs out for the night, temperatures into the upper 50s through the rest of the evening, dropping into the mid 50s and upper 40s as we head past sunset. So still plenty of time to get out there and get those dogs for a walk, but I'll have your full forecast when we see a bit cooler air arrive once again in your full forecast. Avia?
Thank you, Maggie. And staying on the topic of weather, several states are seeing dangerous and deadly flooding as this multi-day stretch of destructive weather stretched into the weekend across the Midwest and the South. More than 90 tornadoes reported in 10 states from Kansas to Ohio since Tuesday. Parts of Arkansas hit more than a foot of rain. In Kentucky, the town of Hopkinsville is underwater. Officials say at least a dozen people were rescued from their homes. Residents of Dyersburg, Tennessee, seeking safety at a shelter after the town received a third tornado warning yesterday afternoon. And the heavy rain now traveling east, heading for Alabama and Georgia. And a Sioux Falls, South Dakota-based business is helping women with ADHD use their personalities to their advantage. Bold Minds connects women with each other through an online program. It empowers them to use their tendencies to propel their professional careers forward. The program offers coaching, networking, resources, and the ability for women to connect and learn to use their personalities to their advantage.
I've been able to meet some of the women in person and go to lunch and grab, coffees and things, and really get to understand that there are people all over my community that understand and relate to what I'm going through.
Other women say the more people they meet, the more they learn about themselves, and they want to educate others about ADHD in women and erase some of those stereotypes.